of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. Dr. Abu has also served and still serves as an executive chairman of the Chamber of Medical Laboratory in Ghana. Dr. Abu had a privilege of having a personal communication at a personal level, and I liked the engagement. It's now my singular honor to introduce you and invite you to speak to a wide range of professionals across the globe who are here to listening to a very wonderful topic of the history of laboratory medicine in Ghana. Dr. Abu, you're most welcome to make your presentation. You'll have about 30 minutes uninterrupted for you to engage with us who are online listening to your presentation. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Abu, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, great. So, greetings to all professional members in Uganda and all my colleagues who have joined from Ghana. I think this is the kind of collaborations we need to work together and to enable us to advance the story of medical laboratory. So, the history of medical laboratory science, medicine in Ghana. Let me make a caveat here. In Ghana, we normally use medical laboratory science, and so forgive me if I use the word interchangeably. And so, as already explained, I'm the immediate past president of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Science. So, the history of medical laboratory science, if we want to look at it, we'll look at it in a broad spectrum. Okay, where we want to look at it in terms of worldwide historical perspective. And so if you look at the development of the diagnostics tool that we have used and the test profiles that we have had, from history, we can all remember the what do you call it, the microscope, which was then something which was a luxury. From the time of that microscope all the way to now, we have advanced a whole lot. We have advanced from the use of calorimeter through to the use of spectrophotometers to flame photometers, and currently we are using very sophisticated auto analyzers. Then was the days when we were using mouth pipetting, Sally pipettes to do our mouth pipetting. We move on to the pasta pipettes and then move on to the micro pipette, and now we are using fully automated micro pipettes. Now, the advancements and the history of medical laboratories in terms of development of the diagnosis tool and test profile has advanced severally. I remember those days when we were running manual HBs. We were running manual full blood counts. You can imagine doing manual full blood count. It's not easy. Doing the white cell counts manually, using the platelets manually. These are things that are currently, if we ask most professionals to even try and do it, it will be something that is difficult. Advancement has really come up, and so has the test profile that has come on board. We are now using molecular diagnosis, point of care. Those days, point of care were not molecular based. Now, a lot of the point of cares are now heading towards molecular based, making it more efficient in terms of what we do. The training of the professionals that must also go with the test profile and the kind of diagnostic tools that we have has also advanced, but this varies from country to country, and so are the professional bodies. And so today I'm going to limit myself more to the training and then the professional bodies. Now, what do we call it? The history of medical laboratory science starts in terms of Ghana, started in the year 1905, 4 and 05, when there was a plague in Ghana. And it was actually something between Ghana and Nigeria and across the West African, states. And so when this plague was in, we had a lot of expatriates where we have Noguchi coming in, and then we also have Dr. Young also coming in. They were mostly doing research into some of these conditions. And most of the things that were being done were being managed purely by expatriates. All right. So fast forward in 1914, they established the first government chemical laboratory based on after the outbreak. And now once this establishment was established, which we'll consider as the first laboratory in Ghana, one of our own, Mr. Kalis Paito, was then employed as a laboratory assistant. Now, he managed to go through the process and was even able to be promoted to a laboratory superintendent in the middle 1940s. However, remember that by 1916, we had only one laboratory assistant. Because of the role that the laboratory assistant were playing, and then because of the role that the laboratory was seen as playing, then they started expanding the laboratories across the various regions in Ghana, as we call them. And so there was a need for to increase the numbers. And so by 1923, the number has shot up to 3. Okay. And the first laboratory was now converted into a medical research institute, which was based in our current Kolebu Teaching Hospital, which is our biggest teaching and referral hospital. Okay. Now, this same place then later on was converted into the Health Laboratory Services headquarters, where basically this particular headquarters was responsible for training virtually every medical laboratory technician up to the 1998. All right. Now, currently, this structure is now our National Public Health and Reference Laboratory in the country. Now by 1928, just as I said earlier on, there was a need to expand the number of personnel that are being trained due to the fact that the interest in laboratory within the country has increased dramatically and drastically. And because of that, if you are going to establish a laboratory about 72 kilometers away from the region, you clearly will need some, some support of laboratory assistants. So they need to really increase the number, then continue. But remember that in all this process, most of the people who were being employed, their training background was not really a problem. It's just about being interested. Okay. So moving on to 1946, all right, there was the need to get more people to be trained. And these people came with a mixed background. Okay. And most of them were members who had gone to the World War and have returned and were really adjusting to the system. And so having done that, by 1952, the government then decided to create a full curriculum that was to employ individuals who wanted to be trained as laboratory assistants. So the main qualification was what we call the General Certificate of Education, which is a G level with background. The training was extended to 3 years. So in these 3 years, I had to go, followed by 2 years of training across all the major divides of our profession, microbiology, histology, and all this. And whilst you do that every year, to be able to meet 3 criteria, the curriculum was designed in order to allow the graduates who graduate from those schools in Ghana when opened now education. So the curriculum was done in time to the situation. In 1990, the University of Ghana Medical then decided to start a diploma in medical laboratory science, and the diploma also continued until it was replaced in 2001 with the BSc. However, this replacement, by then in 1998, the second biggest university in Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, took the lead to start the 4-year Bachelor of Science degree. And because there had been a lot of members who are having certificate and diploma holders within the system, a lot of members were very much interested. And so they trooped in, and then they were, put onto the program. And so the first batch of the first degree holders in KNUST were able to graduate in 2003. Now, following KNUST starting the BSc, the University of Ghana, which was then running the diploma program, also then started the diploma program. But remember that because they were running the diploma, they decided to use members who had already gone through the diploma process, okay, which were just 11 members to start the BSc. And so they did a 2-year top-up program to what do you call it, to be given to be awarded the BSc in MedLab. Now, fast forward, after all this process, so between 2001 all the way to 2010, 2011, once the BSc started, those two universities started mounting the MPhil program in medical laboratory, in all aspects of the medical laboratory science, and then the PhD program in medical laboratory science. And so in 2013 thereabout, or 2014 thereabout, the West African Health Organization, WAHO, decided to create a system whereby medical laboratory training should be the same across the West African states. And so the West African state, the regional leadership, decided that WAHO should have a curriculum whereby if I am trained in Ghana, I can move to Nigeria and be trained and work without needing any further top-up or anything, because you'll be able to do the same kind of work. So in 2013, UDS took advantage of the process and started the 6-year Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science with 13 BSc holders. Now, with the BSc, you can do a 2-year top-up. So they started with 13 students who were enrolled into the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science. So they graduated in 2016. And from 2016 to date, we have had a number of graduates who have graduated from the University for Development Studies. Currently in Ghana, we have 2 other universities which are currently running the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science, which is the University of Allied Health, UHAS, in one of our regions, Volta regions. And then we have to ensure that they also take advantage to run this particular program. Now, until 2019, just as I gave the training school in Ghana that was training medical laboratory technician, which was the School of Medical Laboratory Technology, and then one university
yes, Dr. Abu,
what do you call institutionalization of the BSc. All right. So following the institution of the BSc,
Dr. Abu, we can't hear you.
Which am I?
Dr. Abu, you're breaking. We are losing you.
Yeah. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Dr.
Hello?
Abu. Dr.
Hello,
Abu,
we are getting you.
Okay. Someone said that's why. The BSc, the diploma in medical science, the MLS.D. Let's start the laboratory assistant program has been cancelled. So we are no more running the lab assistant 17, even though we have patches of some institutions that are being insisted are not going to recognize those institutions. So the lab assistant program has been cancelled since 2017 in Ghana. And just as I said, we have 34 universities made up of 10 technical universities, and over 14 traditional universities. That's including making 24 universities with some other 10 private universities that are training medical laboratory professionals in diploma, BSc. But like I said, only 4 universities currently are running the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science. That is approved by the Allied Health Professions Council. Now, fast forward, just as Salifu indicated, in Ghana, we had a challenge of the working relationship between the medical laboratory scientists and then our colleague medical doctors who have specialized in aspects of medical laboratory. And so there was a big issue that even went to Parliament. And following that, we presented a lot of our members who are well established, who had their PhDs, who had their MPhil. And so the ministry, even though acknowledges the MPhil and then the MSc, PhD, indicated that those individual research centers, those who Kenya, practice of medical in Ghana, science in Ghana, college level, yes, go to the college. And in Ghana, college of physician, we have the college of pharmacy, college of nursing, we have the college of environmental studies, environmental. And so currently, following that, Ghana and Nigeria work together, including our colleagues from Gambia, work together to establish the West African Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science. Now, this was established in the year 2020. Approval, and so we currently have Ghana chapter, Nigeria, Gambia, Togo, and Benin chapter, all being members of the college. Now, whilst all these things are going on, profession has to play a role. As a professional body, we have to play a role. And so the profession was established in 1973, all right, with only about 50 members, all right. The 50 members have now increased to over 7,000 members. The profession is part of the IFBLS International. Now, we can say that the objective of the profession is to contribute to the training of the profession and also contribute to laws and policy in the health sector to protect the public peace. This has been a role the profession has been playing over a long period of time. Now, following the training that has occurred, it happened that we need our regulator to regulate the affairs of the profession. And so in 2013, there was an act of parliament that established the Health Professional Regulation Body, which includes the Allied Health, that was taking care of medical laboratory professionals. So from 2013 onwards, every professional in Ghana needs to be licensed by the Allied Health Professions Council. So if you are a degree holder, a first degree holder, you need every year to produce 20 CPD points. If you have a technician, you need to produce 10 CPD points. And if you are an assistant, you have to produce our 5 CPD points. But like I said, the assistant program is being cancelled. Following that, the profession worked together and then got the National Blood Transfusion Act, which also was passed in 2022. And now we also have the National Accreditation Service that looks at regulation within the laboratory. And then the Ghana Health Service Teaching Hospital. These are roles that the profession was able to play. And the profession, together with the National Standard Authority, was able to adopt the ISO 15189. So all laboratories in Ghana are expected to be accredited with the ISO 15189 using the Ghana. Now the challenge management of the scope that is that must give how much of is supposed now in profession where organs
Dr. Abu, we seem to be losing you. I don't know whether it's an issue of network, but we're enjoying your presentation. Kindly position yourself well so that we can still receive your good presentation.
Yeah, so thank you. I went off a little bit. So
You have muted yourself.
okay, thank you very much. So, in order for us to do the for organs which recognize of the professional the union, which is the labor union of the profession. There was also the establishment of the Society of Laboratory Managers, that are laboratory managers across Ghana that works in the interest of the laboratory professionals. We have our women's wing purely with their own structure and in their own system. And you know, finance plays a lot of roles in the things we do. Members will need the loans and other activities. So the professional body also established a credit union to cater for some of these activities. And in order to also ensure that structures are working very well, a Chamber of Medical Laboratory Ghana has been created, which is supposed to be a chamber of all the private sector practitioners, those suppliers, the medical laboratory suppliers, the manufacturers. They are all into one group, which we call the Chamber of Medical Laboratory, that can talk and lobby the government in order to get certain things working for them as we move along. All right, so the profession also has a long-standing association with a lot of international professional bodies, which include PM Togo. We have the Benin Association, we have the Nigerian, we have the Liberian, we have the Tanzanian, we have the Ugandan Association, where we are having a better collaboration. We also with the Celebrate Lab, ASLM, AfriHealth, and FILPA, and I believe we are all fully aware of it. Now, to end the process, this is a structure that the professional body working together with the council, we have decided that by 2028, 2029, thereabouts, the medical laboratory practice in Ghana is going to go towards this direction. We are no more going to have all these cadres, the BSc, the diploma. We are going to have only 2 cadres, which is the professional diploma, which is a 3-year program diploma. And then we are going to have the 6-year Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science. Now, once you are able to get this particular qualification, you either move towards research or academia by doing your MPhil or your PhD, or you go through the specialist training, just as I said earlier, where we were supposed to have the specialists, the senior specialists, and the consultants. So this structure is also set up that from 2028 going, this is the structure that we are going to have as medical laboratory professionals in Ghana in order to meet all aspects of our work. So when you go to academia, we should have the professionals working there and then meeting the standard over there. If you go to research, we should have them there and meeting the standard. And then when you go to the specialist grade, these are category of people that we expect to work in the hospital and to provide that high standard laboratory practice in our country. On that note, I will say a big thank you very much for the opportunity to present the Ghana aspect of our history. Thank you once again.
Wow, thank you very much, Dr. Abdu. You've ably delivered your presentation, and I'm quite sure that this has spurred or has stimulated quite a number of questions. We want to thank you for sparing the time first to prepare the presentation, and to give us an insight in form of the presentation that you've made of the progress of laboratory medicine, both in training and practice in Ghana. It gives us a comparative analysis that probably as we ponder about the future of the laboratory profession that we envision, we have something to compare with. We thank you so very much. And colleagues and friends, it's now time for us to raise a few questions. We have 10 minutes to the end of our session, but I want to implore you that if you have those very critical questions, you go ahead and ask. Keep them as summarized as possible, but delivering content and delivering the most responsive questions that would have the responses that would be beneficial to all of us. Any questions from you? Put up your hand. I'll choose you. I'll select you to deliver your question, and Dr. Abu will be happy to answer the questions. Any question?
Yes, Mr. Were.
Please proceed and make your question known.
Thank you so much. Presentation. And my name is Vincent Mwesije, once again from Bara University of Science and Technology. My question requests for clarity on the professional development. I see the professional diploma takes you to the 6-year Doctor of Medical Lab Science, and then you again head to MPhil, if I saw it very well. I thought your 3-year diploma would be an equivalent of a BSc, and then the 6-year encompasses the master and PhD. I request you to guide us, maybe to see whether we are in tandem with the training here in Uganda, where one either does a diploma, then a bachelor, a master, and then a PhD. Thank you.
Dr. Abu, as you come to respond to that, it seems I've read in the chat room, there is an interest again for you to go over your last slide, and I'm sure it still speaks to the question that Vincent has also presented. So you might want to give more clarity on your last slide of your presentation.
We seem to be losing him, Mr. Were.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Doctor,
hello.
we can hear you. Can hear you. We can hear you. Proceed. Dr. Abu,
we are no more going to have 2027, 2028. Yes. So in response to the question, yes, exactly. So in response to the question, what is being proposed here is that we are supposed to have the 3-year the 3-year diploma program. Yeah, So we are supposed to have the 3-year professional diploma, which is more or less like a technical officer's level. The 4-year BSc program is being cancelled. Okay, so we are not going to have 4-year BSc program. So from the diploma, if you want to continue, you have to continue with the 6-year Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science. Clearly, once you have done your 3-year professional diploma, there will be some year exemption. You are not going to start from level 100, but you may start from level 200 or level 300 based on the experience that you have. So you do the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science. So the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science replaces the 4-year BSc. Now, once you finish with your Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science, you then decide whether you want to do your MPhil and continue with the PhD, or you want to go and do your specialist training. Now, there's one thing about the specialist training which I did not speak about. Now, what we are doing with the specialist training, we call it dual certification. Dual certification means that when you come in as for the part 1, you can register with the university. So, for example, you are coming in to specialize in hematology for part 1. You can apply to another university that is in line.
Hey, Jerry. Yay.
You can register with another university that is running MPhil in hematology. There's going to be that arrangement where you can graduate both with a specialist and an MPhil, so that when you come back to do your consultancy level, which is also like 3-4 years, you can now also apply for your PhD. So in all cases, you come out with both your specialist and then your PhD program. This is supposed to close the gap so that members who want to specialize can also acquire their MPhil and their PhD. So this is what is currently
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Abu. Vincent again. Hello?
PhD is the one that out. In fact, all processes are in place now. Hope that by 2027, 2028, we will end the MLS completely. So every university that will run. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abu. I hope there's clarity in his presentation. One thing that comes out very clearly is that there's all intention to phase out the traditional degree program of 4 years, and they are elevating it to 6 years, where if you have a national diploma or a professional diploma as is presenting it, you can then advance to the Doctor of Medical Lab Science, which is a 6-year program. And therefore, if you're coming from the A level, which you want to regard as our traditional entry point into degree programs, then you just run the 6-year program, and therefore once you're done, you earn yourself a title of Doctor of Medical Laboratory Sciences. I think you've been so clear on that.
Yeah.
I can see Michael Atta, whether he wants to ask a question or to give more clarification, since he's also from Ghana. Please proceed and make your submission. Michael, it's your chance to ask.
Okay, my question is that if right now someone is having BSc in medical laboratory and he want to do doctor in medical laboratory, the person will spend how many years in school? And what will be the level
Okay,
the person will
Michael.
start?
Yeah, so Michael, if BSc in science, parent, you are supposed to do a top up of 2 years top up program, which would mean that you start from level 500. So you do level 500 and then you level 600, and then you graduate. After graduating, you then do 1 year housemanship, and then you now write your licensure exams. When you pass, then you can be given your license.
Thank you. One more question here that has come in from Francis to Dr. Abu. He states that it's very exciting, especially the aspect of having harmonized curriculum, not only within the country, but as a regional level, at a regional level. And a comment on private training institutions. Is this happening in Ghana and the wider Waho region? Sorry if he missed the presentation on that bit.
Okay, so let me see that yes, Wahoo has given the curriculum. We are aware that our Nigerian counterpart are on the grade of starting. In Ghana, because Wahoo has given the templates, they have given the course, they have given the curriculum, but it's supposed to be adopted by the various universities, as my colleague presenter said. The various universities have the opportunity to add some few things that they want to have. However, to avoid we having so many additions from various universities, the council in Ghana, you cannot run a medical laboratory program without the approval of the council, which is the professional council. You need 2 accreditation. One accreditation from the government side, which we call the Ghana Accreditation Board, which will look at your curriculum and all those things. And then we have the professional accreditation. So the professional accreditation is harmonizing all this, curricula, so that every university that wants to establish medical laboratory science, be it the diploma, be it the Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science, you just contact the council, and the council will provide that curriculum. That curriculum has been worked together with the Ghana Accreditation Authority, which is the government sector, which has been accepted. So the universities do not need to do anything anymore. The council will provide all those things for everybody. In fact, I know that they have finished that process this year, and they are only looking for stakeholders' engagement, then they can be adopted. And so it is there. So if you are a private institution and you want to run Doctor of Medical Laboratory Science, or be a diploma, or whatever program you want to, you need the council's approval. And in getting the council's approval, you have to align your curriculum to meet that of the council, which is something that is supposed to be across the country. So private sector participation is also huge over here in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abu. I see Mr. Mwanguze. Enoch has a question. After Mr. Mwanguze, I see Isaac is also he has put up his hand. So Enoch first, then Isaac.
Thank you very much, Jackson, for every moderating this session. And the presenters equally, I listened very attentively. And Dr. Abu, thank you very much. I've been introduced. We met last year in Dodoma. Yes, we had a very nice chat and we have been in touch. Now, I wanted to know, because just like another profession, political will is a very important factor for the success that any profession will achieve. So like in Tanzania, the political will is very positive. Now, you seem to be achieving a lot in Ghana. Do you have the political will? How have you done to ensure you win the political will? How would you advise we could do to ensure that we can achieve much more like you are doing? Thank you very much. I submit.
Thank you, Enoch, and we're very glad to hear from you again. Meeting in Dodoma was one of the best way, and this is the kind of collaboration we expect to continue such a way that we can be able to have. In fact, we must move this collaboration to have interaction between ourselves, exchanges in order to understand a lot of things that are being done. There were a lot of things that I learned from Tanzania. Now, in terms of the political will, that is what the role of the profession has actually. In fact, the profession, even though it's not supposed to be, it's supposed to be apolitical. We work behind the scene, and we have made an effort such a way that we know that in every government or in every country, people have the will to belong to any political party, and so within our profession, we'll be able to identify strong members who belong to all the political parties. Okay, who have linked to the state's power. So, for example, in Ghana now, there's a current new government. We have a group of professionals who are dedicated to that particular political party. The opposition, the old government that has just left power, we had another dedicated group of people who are also aligned to that particular political party.
Dr. Abu, we seem to be missing you, losing you there. Dr. Abu, we can't hear you anymore.
Yes, yeah, he's aware. He has been informed, please. He's still reconnecting, please.
He's still?
He's reconnecting. He's reconnecting.
Oh,
He'll
reconnecting.
get back. Yeah,
Okay.
he'll get back.
We'll wait for a few seconds.
All right. Yeah, please, can the host admit him? He's using a different device. Okay, all right.
Align. What we have done in Ghana now is to align ourselves. Some members belong to a different political. parties. And the professional body has been working together with them to ensure that our agenda, which we want to carry through, is actually manufactured. Yes, we have the new government that has promised. We have the new government that has promised us a council. In terms of political, we make it a point to ensure we participate very strongly. Yeah, we use our members. We use our members who belong to the various political parties. Okay, we use our members who belong to various political parties to be able to channel some part for us. So, like I said earlier, if maybe I was off by then, currently we were able to use our members that belong to the current government to be able to put in their manifesto to give us a council, even though we belong to the Allied Professions Council, we have been able to use that political handle to get this government to put it in their manifesto that they will give us a council. So currently, we are waiting for the government to give us a medical laboratory council, which we believe that will add to the way we want to practice. So political affiliation plays a very good role, and in such a way, we try to get our members who have political links, who are associated with governments and authorities. Even in the opposition, we have members who belong to the opposition party that are very strong within that particular party. So at every particular point in time, we use them, and at the same time, the professional body also lobbies. In fact, we engage the ministry, we let them know exactly what we want, even though sometimes it doesn't take 1 year, 2 years, but persistent and continues to let the ministry know that this is what we want. And so by so doing, we are able to make a penetration. We are able to make a lot of advocacy. We advocate, we talk to other institutions, we try to link up as much as possible. And so that's how we are able to make a breakthrough in most of our endeavor in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abu. Given the challenges that we're having right now on connectivity, allow me give one last opportunity to Isaac, and we then have closing remarks from the presenters, myself, and then also look out at see if the president of the UMLTA is available to make their remarks or in announcements. Isaac, please proceed. As you know, time is not our best ally at this point. Summarize your question, please. Proceed. Isaac? Isaac, you put up your hand and you're not speaking. I think I will have to end here. I want to thank all the presenters for the presentations, the time you put in to prepare these presentations, for ably delivering the content to us. It's been very informative. I thank you.
Hello, sir.
Sorry. I want to thank you once again for creating the time, preparing these presentations, sharing very wonderful insights into the history of laboratory medicine. And it has given us a very comparative analysis. We get to understand that Ghana and Uganda have had more or less the same trajectory in terms of development in the training programs in the field of laboratory medicine. We also tend to appreciate that, yes, we seem to be advocating for the same development, seeking for a unilateral or a single regulatory council for laboratory professionals, and we thank you so much for sharing that bit as well. I've been your moderator, Jackson Were, a medical microbiologist working with Mulago National Referral Hospital as the head of clinical labs. Allow me invite the presenters to make their last comments or remarks, parting words or statements for us as professionals. What final message do you leave for us as we walk out into the world to serve? And what hope shall we continue having? Just give us that parting message, the last words. Let me start with Dr. Abu, then we'll invite Dr. Randembo to give his remarks, and then we'll invite the president to close the session. Thank you. Dr. Abu, make your final part.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Jackson, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank my colleague presenter, Doc, for the opportunity to also learn from my Zambian counterpart, Ugandan counterparts. I want to thank God for the opportunity to link up, and let me say that the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Science is ever ready to link up with our Ugandan association, learn from each other, and then get the best practice. The profession of medical laboratory science has of each. Okay, we are not subservient to any other profession. We are a profession of our own, capable of running our own activities, capable of running our own affairs. What we need to work is to know that we keep the standard working. We keep our work ethics and all the things that has to be treated with a profession. We keep doing that in order to increase the knowledge and then the understanding that we have for our profession. It is important that if we say we are of age, then it means that everything that comes around for medical laboratory science, we as a group should be handle it. And if one side is working very well and another side is not working well, what happens is that we are unable to achieve our goal. It is important that we get a harmonized system where whatever happens in Ghana is also should be able to happen within the same level in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Kenya, in South Africa, so that together we can uplift the profession of medical laboratory science. It's exciting. I can say that the profession of medical laboratory science is getting exciting, and it's more exciting than ever. So let's all together work together, put our shoulders behind the wheel, and try to push and try to learn from each other. Let's bring together our seniors and let's continue to learn from our seniors, so that we, the new generation that are coming, will be able to also continue the good work that has been done and keep the standard. I mean, we need to maintain, improve, and keep the standard going. On this note, I want to thank every member here, the executive of the association, the presidents, and all the executives, and all members in Uganda. I will say that a very big thank you. We are hoping to have the opportunity to come to Uganda and also learn something a lot more from our Ugandan counterpart. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abu. Now let me invite Dr. Randembo to make his last remarks or parting words to us, the professionals, as we get off this call. Dr. Randembo, please.
Thank you, Jackson, for the good coordination, for having coordinated celebrate through these 2 hours. That is very good 2 hours. I thank Dr. Ebu for having time for the kind words giving to the coordination and the whole thing. I want to thank the association for this wonderful arrangement. I want to call everybody. I want to thank everybody for that. But I want to say this: that let us always know that laboratory is the court of appeal for the medical profession. When the reasoning and the thinking stops, the laboratory should always be ready to give the answer. And once the laboratory has given the answer, the discussion stops, the discussion stops, the debate stops, the working starts. I'm really excited to hear about the history of training in Ghana, the curriculum integration and the curriculum evolution in medical laboratory sciences. We seem more to be pushing and facing in the same direction. We seem to have been plagued by the same diseases earlier, and we seem all to have conquered, and we are now thinking on how we can better and how can we can excel. I still want to say that let us try to develop standards. Let us try to develop standards so that even when the international standards are coming, they know, yes, here we know it's the bottom line. You can't go below this one. Ethics, I think I will still hammer it because you cannot be a respectable profession unless you are grounded ethically. Members, thank you very much for attending. Thank you for giving us all this time and for listening to us. And for the time I have been a little away, I think I have come home and I'm excited about it. Thank you, President. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jackson.
Thank you very much.